Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Dai, and today I'm sharing with you my first impressions on the Monochrome Manga Club selections for the month of June. So the Monochrome Manga Club is an in real life manga club that I host at a local Barnes & Noble where we read 2 first in a series selections, and we're currently doing 2 full series reads. So our selections for the month of June were Volume 1 of Given by Natsuki Kizu. This one's published by Sublime, rated older teen. Volume 1 of I Married My Female Friend by Shio Usui. This one's published by 7 Seas, rated teen. We also read Volume 7 and 8 of Delicious in Dungeon by Ryoko Kui. That one is published by Yen Press, rated older teen. And then we read Volumes 11 and 12 of Assassination Classroom by Yusei Matsui. This one's published by Viz and rated older teen. As we are not at the beginning of the series for either of those, I will not be sharing with you my thoughts on those volumes. But if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on them, you can watch my DCIS 19 diaries for the week. With that being said, I will be sharing with you my thoughts on the 2 first in a series selections. So let's start off with Given. So this is a BL story about our band here on the cover. In this volume, we get introduced to the 3 characters here, and they are in a band, and then this character meets this character when he discovers him kind of taking up his nap spot. And so this character here, when he meets, I should really remember their names, Uenoyama, I think, is this guy. He is holding a guitar, and he's just kind of like sitting there, and Uenoyama kind of, talks to him about his guitar and things, and that kind of starts the, I guess you would say, connection that kind of ropes Mafuyu, I think is his name, this one, into kind of joining their group. So far, that's pretty much all it is. We kind of meet all of the characters, and Mafuyu kind of gets to kind of start being part of the band, and that's pretty much where we are left in this volume. And so I have been very hesitant to read this series. It's got a lot of hype. I hear a lot of people talking about it, and if you know me, you know that I don't tend to read lots of things with hype on it, because I tend to have an unpopular opinion. And so I have been putting this one off and putting this one off. Plus the fact that it has to do with music. I mean, we're obviously talking about members in a band. So the presumption is there's going to be music involved in the telling of the story. And for me, when there is music in a story, I feel like I'm losing out on the experience of the story, because I don't have the auditory cues and things of the type of music that's being played. Like, I can't hear what they're doing, and so it makes it a little bit unenjoyable for me when there's music in a story that I can't hear. The reason that we chose this volume was because one of my members really, really wanted to read this one, and so I thought, okay, let's give it a go. We did Bocchi the Rock a couple months ago, and I had a really hard time with that one because there was so much music being portrayed, them playing and rehearsing and things, and I'm not having that sound. And so I thought, oh no, I really don't want to have that experience with this one, but we'll give it a go. And I'm happy to say that I quite enjoyed this one. There isn't as much music, at least not in this first volume, that I felt like I was missing out. There's definitely scenes where they are playing, or there's some singing, and I mean, you can't hear what they're doing, but it was so few for me in this volume that I really didn't feel like it took away from the story for me, not having the auditory experience. I really enjoyed watching these characters get to know each other. I'm definitely curious about Mafuyu's past, who is this guy right here. It definitely alludes to some things that have happened in his past, and I'm curious to know all about that. I really enjoyed watching Mafuyu and Uenoyama get to know each other, and I will definitely be continuing on with this series. I know there is an anime, there is a live action drama, and I believe there is a movie as well. And so I'm really, really looking forward to checking out this series in all of its facets. And I'm happy to say that I really, really enjoyed this volume. So glad that my Monochrome Manga Club member had suggested this one, because I probably would have put it off for much, much longer. But yes, really enjoyed that one. So I'm glad to have read that one. And then the other one we read was I Married My Female Friend, Volume 1. This is a Yuri story about these two friends who kind of make a pact that if they're not married or in a serious relationship in 5 years, that they'll marry each other. And so they kind of go off and do their own thing. This one is a baker, and she had gone off to France to learn her craft, and this one is kind of like a freelancer. And 5 years pass, they're not attached to anybody else, and so they get married. And this kind of just follows them getting acquainted with the married life, working out their living situation and things like that. I did enjoy this one. It felt very familiar to me. If you have read the manga I Married My Best Friend to Shut My Parents Up, I can't remember the mangaka's name, but I'll put it down here. I read that one a few years ago, and for me, this volume very much felt like that story. Got two friends, they get married, and they don't really have romantic feelings for each other, but they're just trying to make it work. Now, that being said, I do feel like in this couple, one of them definitely has feelings for the other. And I also feel like by the end of this volume, we're starting to see a change in the feelings of the other character. But for the most part, this volume felt almost exactly like what I remember I Married My Best Friend to Shut My Parents Up felt and read like. And so it didn't feel like new or exciting for me. And so while I enjoyed reading this volume, it felt like something I had read before. And so I'm looking forward to continuing with this one. I'm definitely going to read the next one, because I do feel, like I said, there is a change in the feelings of the other character. And I want to see that growth, the growth of their relationship, and things like that. And so I feel like maybe with this series I'll get a more rounded story, a fuller story of the events that take place in I Married My Best Friend to Shut My Parents Up. And while that particular volume is a one-shot and it more focuses on the fact that they got married because of parents' pressure, this one is definitely more of a story of just two really good friends getting married because of the pact that they made. And so, yeah, I thought it was interesting. You definitely feel more of that slice of life type of feel with this particular volume, because you do just follow them day to day, getting comfortable in their living arrangement, and just kind of not necessarily being romantically involved, just that they're getting used to their new relationship. And so, yeah, something happens at the end of this one that I think will start propelling the story, and I am looking forward to seeing the growth of the relationship between these two characters. And so that's my thoughts on this month's selections. So before I let you go, I do want to let you know what we will be reading for the month of July. So of course, we will be continuing Delicious in Dungeon with volumes 9 and 10. We'll be continuing with Assassination Classroom, volumes 13 and 14. And then for our first in a series selections, we will be reading volume 1 of Shadow's House. This one is by Somato, published by Yen Press, rated teen. So this one says, in the depths of a murky mansion lives a group of enigmatic nobles known as the Shadow Family. With no visible features to speak of, these mysterious aristocrats employ living dolls to act as their faces. Kate and Emilico are one such pair of mistress and servant, dwelling in their own little world and learning from each other bit by bit with every new day. But in a house of locked doors, living according to rules from no apparent source, how long can their blissfully peaceful existence truly last? So, I've heard a couple of things about this one, and I'm really curious to know what I think of it. For me, when I first picked up this volume, I thought it had a little bit of a mysterious element to it. It might be a little bit dark, and the kind of picture here on the cover does kind of give me those same vibes. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what I think. And so that is Shadow's House Volume 1. And then we'll also be reading Volume 1 of The Uncanny Counter by Jang E. This one is published by Issei Press, rated older teen. So it says, the word in town is that the broth at the local noodle house is to die for. The secret? The people who run the shop were on the brink of death. They call themselves counters and have partnered with ghosts from the afterlife to hunt down rogue spirits. When ordinary high schooler Moon is invited to join them, his whole life flips upside down. Can his new job of fighting evil and chopping noodles give him the answers to his parents' mysterious deaths all those years ago? So this one is a manhwa. I believe it is available to read on the Tapas app if you are interested in reading it. And I believe it is free to read. So if you'd like to join us in reading this one, that would be an option for you to try if you are interested. And so those will be our two options for the month of July. If you would like to join us, you can definitely do so by reading the volumes and letting me know your thoughts either in these videos or in our Discord, which is linked down in the description box below. So definitely let me know if you will be joining in on any of our selections. I also do a audio-only podcast with my daughter called the Volume by Volume podcast, where we talk about our thoughts on the volumes that we're reading of Assassination Classroom. So those podcast episodes are spoilery, and so we do definitely talk about what happens in those volumes. So if you haven't read the volumes, I suggest that you not listen to these recordings until you have. But we do talk about our thoughts on the volumes that we read every month. So you can definitely check out that podcast for a more detailed discussion of my thoughts, at least, on Assassination Classroom, along with a discussion from my daughter. I will go over my thoughts on Assassination Classroom just in general in my Thesis 19 diaries, like I said. But you can join in on any of the reads that we're having. You can even read and share some of your thoughts on our past volumes, either in those videos or in our Discord, because we do have threads for our previous volumes as well as our previous series reads. So let me know if you will be joining us for any of those, or if you've read any of these volumes, what you thought of them, but please no spoilers. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me a ghost emoji down in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.